Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I want to say this is going to be Wednesday night's lesson. Sorry, I'm recording this a different day. Wednesday night lesson on using personal references to figure out metric length. So, pretty much the idea of you should have a good idea of what is a centimeter, what is a millimeter, what is a meter, what is a kilometer. If you don't, we're going to continue that lesson today. And then not only knowing what those things are, but being able to put personal references to it so that you're more easily able to pull them out. So, for example, without measuring or trying to find, try to find something around your classroom or specifically your house right now whose length or height is about, let's say, 5 centimeters tall. Okay, so remember, a centimeter is about the width of your fingernail, so about 5 of those tall. Not going to be very tall. Write that down and explain why would be. So here is some personal references for length. So I'm going to read this to you real quick. Sometimes it's hard to remember how long a centimeter or yard is, or how a kilometer and a mile compare. You may not have a ruler, yardstick, or tape measure handy. When this happens, you can estimate lengths by using the length of common objects and distances that you know. Some examples of personal references to length are given below, or on the next slide. A good personal reference is something you use or see often that you don't forget. A good personal reference also does not change size. For example, a wooden pencil is not a good personal measurement because it gets getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So, for example, diameter is from one side of a circle to another. So a quarter is about an inch. Okay, you can always use a quarter to help measure in it. For the pattern blocks we use, they're about a centimeter wide. But here's a chart full of things that are about 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 meter, 1 kilometer. I'm going to want you to write at least one of these down per each one of these, whichever one you think will help you best remember. For a millimeter, I like the thickness of a dime. You know how thick a dime is? It's not very thick at all. That's about 1 millimeter. About a match, too, about the thickness of the thin part of a match. For a centimeter, about the thickness of a crayon, how thick it is. Your fingernail is usually the width of your fingernail is a good one to use for that. The thickness of a pattern block. For a meter, one big step for an adult. If you guys put from the tip of your nose to the tip of your thumb, the arm extended for an adult, maybe not you yet, but for your mom or for your dad. For you, maybe as long as your arms go out from one side to another for a kid can be a good reference point for 1 meter. And for kilometer, 10 football fields. Or 1,000 big steps. It's close. It's shorter than a mile, but it's for a long distance. So can you write some of these down so that you can have personal references for these lengths? So around your house, I want you to look and I want you to say, what are things around your house that you have that are about 1 centimeter long? And then you might want to go measure it. What are things that are 1 decimeter or 10 centimeters long? Can you go find anything that has about 10? Or about a meter? Can you pause it and keep trying to find some things? Without using a ruler, estimate the following. What about the length or width of your math journal? How long do you think it is? Do you think it's a meter long? Do you think you measure in centimeters, in millimeters, in kilometers? What about the diameter of a penny from one side of a penny to another? The width of a calculator. Just think about what would it be. First off, what would you use? Millimeters, centimeters, meters, or kilometers? And then how many of those do you think? So what I want you to do is I want you to list at least 5 objects in your house, and I want you to estimate how long they are using whatever millimeter, centimeter, meter, or kilometer. Probably not kilometers if it's in your house. And then if you could, take your ruler and actually measure how long those objects are. In class, we're going to ask you to be able to add and subtract. We're going to ask you to do all of these things here. But here's where the tricky part is. Can you do the same thing tomorrow in class? And then, can you convert these measurements? So this is like the game you're supposed to play the night before. 18 centimeters is how many millimeters? Well, if you know how many millimeters are in a centimeter, you should be able to tell me how many are in 18. This is one that you might want to practice at home with your parents there. This is going to be on your This is going to be on your entrance slip. This is going to be the ones that can separate who knows what they're doing and who's going to be working with Mr. Peralta. Okay, so make sure you're taking some time to learn how these things convert. And then we'll do some more. All right, guys. We'll do this too which a crayon is about 88 millimeters, 88 centimeters, 88 decimeters, or 88 meters. Make sure you know what these are, because this sheet is going to be in your, it's going to be one I'm going to ask you to do tomorrow in class. Alright guys,